I need space, she said. Not angry, not dramatic. Just that phrase, soft but steady, like a verdict. I did not ask why. I did not argue. I simply nodded, set my coffee cup down, and said, okay. Clara had been restless for months. Long hours at the agency, late nights editing campaigns, endless client calls. But this was different. There was a sharp edge under her calm. The kind you notice when someone leans back in a chair and refuses to meet your eyes. She smiled faintly, like she had already rehearsed the next step. Don't make this a big deal, she added. It's just space. I left the apartment that morning with my laptop bag over my shoulder. I worked remotely anyway, building software for the city's infrastructure, managing traffic sensors and emergency networks. Logic was my language, data my comfort. Clara went to a workshop downtown, a closed seminar on personal growth. She had told me it was a small group, limited seats. Charismatic speaker. Transformational techniques. Nothing more. I did not follow. I did not check. I did not question. That evening, her text started. Short bursts. Quotes she claimed were life-changing. Photos of notebooks filled with ideas. A message with a caption, I can feel the shift already. I read them. I did not reply. By the second day, I noticed the pattern. She was stepping into someone else's orbit. Someone with influence, confidence, the kind of presence that makes people reveal more than they intended. I did not panic. I did not act. I watched. By the third day, her schedule was full. Morning seminar. Afternoon breakout sessions. Evening small group coaching. She sent me photos of notebooks filled with diagrams, arrows, and motivational quotes. This is exactly what I needed, she wrote. I did not reply. I made notes for a city traffic algorithm instead, adjusted parameters for emergency response sensors, and reviewed network logs. Every message from her was just another variable I observed, not acted on. That night, she posted a photo on social media. Not of herself. Just a blurred silhouette in a studio space with sunlight spilling through tall windows. Caption, expanding my boundaries. She tagged the speaker, Lucas Harper, a charismatic coach with a reputation for transforming executives. She smiled in the reflection, a half-curved line that seemed like ownership of a secret. I did not comment. I did not ask. By Thursday, she started sending longer texts. She called them reflections. Descriptions of sessions, of breakthroughs, of realizing hidden potential. She mentioned Lucas by name. She praised his methods. I read every word, logged it in my mind, then set the phone down. Friday morning, she mentioned a private session. One-on-one. She wrote, Lucas offered to show me exercises outside the group. It's intense. I think I need it. I did not argue. I did not interfere. I looked at my calendar, noted an infrastructure rollout in another district, and booked my flight. The city office needed me. My apartment and our shared space were hers for the weekend. I gave her space. Exactly what she had asked for. By Saturday, I was settled in my temporary apartment near the city office. Small space, efficient layout, nothing personal left behind. The kind of place that encourages focus. I moved in quickly, left the shared apartment untouched, as she had requested. Space. Clara's texts had shifted. She no longer mentioned the group. Now it was about Lucas directly. He helped me uncover something I didn't know existed, she typed. She sent a photo of a studio with floor-to-ceiling mirrors, captioned, reflecting on my evolution. I did not respond. I opened my laptop, checked system updates for the traffic sensors, adjusted emergency protocols, and sent reports to the municipal servers. My work had deadlines. Her messages did not. Later that evening, a single image arrived. A darkened studio, lights dim, Clara in the center, arms raised as if reaching for something. Lucas in the background, a silhouette, gesturing with intensity. Caption, transformation in progress. I did not react. I did not call. I did not confront. I watched. Her texts kept coming, increasingly urgent, philosophical, almost celebratory. Each one revealing more intimacy with him, framed as growth, as awakening. Sunday morning, a message arrived, stayed late in the studio. Needed to experience it fully. No explanation. No apology. Just that statement, like she assumed I would understand. I closed the app. I packed a small bag for the week. My commute to the city office would be longer, but I booked it anyway. I left our shared apartment exactly as it was. Space she asked for. Space she got. By Monday, the city office was full of activity. Screens flashing data, sensors reporting traffic flow, emergency alerts queued for testing. My mind focused on algorithms, not texts. Clara's messages appeared throughout the morning, read receipts ignored. She sent a video clip from the studio. Just her silhouette walking past mirrors, Lucas's voice narrating, talking about unlocking potential. She captioned it, experiencing the next level. I did not reply. I did not comment. I ran simulations for the new infrastructure rollout, adjusted parameters, and sent the updated network plan to the municipal servers. The world outside her space continued to function, and I followed its rules. By Tuesday, she escalated. A photo of a small dinner table, candles, 2 glasses, the studio behind them. Caption: Intimacy of transformation. The subtext was clear. I did not react. I did not reach out. I booked a 1-bedroom near the city office, signed the lease, and forwarded the notice of separate residence to our property management. Shared apartment untouched, as she wanted. Space, exactly as requested. Wednesday, her posts turned philosophical, about letting go, personal growth, surrendering to the experience. She tagged Lucas in each one. Her tone shifted from excitement to dependence, like the weekend of sessions had created momentum she could not stop. Thursday morning, I noticed she had not posted in hours. I continued working remotely, monitoring traffic sensors and city networks. I glanced at her last message. I think I finally understand myself. I did not reply. By evening, I had moved my essentials to the new apartment, activated utilities, and left the shared space fully available. She had all the space she asked for. The rest was hers to navigate. By the following weekend, Clara's intensity had reached a new level. Her messages came in rapid succession, each one longer, more urgent, more elaborate. She sent screenshots of journal pages, photos of the studio filled with sunlight, and brief clips of Lucas guiding participants through exercises. "This is the breakthrough I've been waiting for," she wrote. I did not reply. I did not comment. I watched. I booked a short flight to oversee a new network deployment in another district. Checked server logs, updated infrastructure models, reviewed data streams from traffic cameras. Every alert, every anomaly got my attention. Her messages did not. Saturday evening, a photo arrived that stopped me for a fraction of a second. Clara in the studio, Lucas behind her, both laughing at something off-frame. Caption: Evolving in real time. The implication was clear. I did not react. I packed my suitcase, reviewed the deployment plan, and sent updates to the city servers. Sunday morning, another text. Stayed late. Needed to feel it fully. No explanation. No apology. Just the statement, as if I should understand and accept it. I looked at the shared apartment's lease. I had signed a notice of separate residence a few days prior, sent to property management. Utilities transferred. Keys and access unaltered. Space provided. By Sunday night, the studio photos stopped. The messages slowed. The intensity faded, leaving only her presence in our shared apartment, untouched, but now distant. She had asked for space. I had given it. What came next was hers to navigate, and she was not ready. By the second week, Clara's enthusiasm began to waver. The constant energy of the workshops, the late-night coaching sessions, and the curated exercises left traces of fatigue in her texts. She sent a brief video, sitting on a studio couch, hair slightly messy, eyes distant. Caption: Processing everything. I did not respond. I continued my work in the new apartment. Server updates, traffic sensor logs, algorithm tests. Everything measured, everything precise. Her evolution was hers alone. Midweek, she called. Not to ask about me, not to explain herself. Just small talk. She mentioned Lucas, a new exercise, a potential contract he had promised for transformational participants. Her tone was lighter, but there was an edge, a subtle anxiety beneath the practiced calm. I kept my replies minimal. Factual. Brief. I had moved entirely, left our shared apartment available. The lease was officially adjusted. Utilities transferred. My presence existed only through logistics, not intervention. Thursday night, another message. Am I on the right path? She asked. No urgency, but a clear attempt at reassurance. I typed 6 words. Precise, final. You asked for space. I stepped out. She read it immediately. The three dots appeared, then disappeared. Silence. By Friday, the posts and messages had nearly stopped. Lucas was focusing on a new audience, new sessions, new promises. Clara's intensity faded into quiet. The space she requested had become her reality. And for the first time, she realized that the boundaries she had imagined did not include me staying stationary. By the third week, the rhythm of her growth had quieted. Clara stopped sending the long reflections, the videos from the studio, the snapshots of exercises with Lucas. The accounts she had shared on social media went silent. No updates. No breakthroughs. I did not reach out. I did not probe. My life followed a linear pattern. Remote work in the new apartment, monitoring city infrastructure, testing sensors, adjusting traffic algorithms. Every line of code, every report, every system alert demanded attention. She was no longer part of that rhythm. Midweek, I received a single message from her. Are we okay? Short, tentative, hesitant. I read it carefully. I did not reply immediately. I considered the course of the past weeks, her request for space, the excursions into workshops, the late nights in the studio. Every action she had taken was a variable she controlled. I had merely observed, adjusted my position, and stepped into the boundaries she had created. I typed a response. 6 words, measured. You asked for space. I went beyond. Read receipt confirmed. Silence followed. By the weekend, her profile showed no posts, no updates. Lucas's programs had moved to a new cohort, new participants, new promises. Her circle had dispersed. The space she demanded was now a void. I returned to the shared apartment briefly. Everything was untouched, orderly. No confrontation. No declaration. The absence itself carried the weight. She had asked for space. She had received it. And she had not anticipated what stepping beyond that boundary would mean. By the 4th week, Clara's attempts to reconnect had become hesitant, almost invisible. A short text in the morning, a single emoji in the afternoon. Her studio photos had stopped completely. The intensity she once broadcasted had dissolved into empty silence. I did not reply. I did not initiate contact. My work in the new city office demanded full attention. Server updates, network calibrations, traffic algorithms, emergency simulations. Each alert, each system log, each report pulled me deeper into precision, into structure. She existed only as background noise in the data of my life. Wednesday evening, her text finally broke the quiet. Are we okay? Nothing more. No explanations, no justifications, no stories about growth or awakening. Just that question, fragile, uncertain, almost desperate. I typed carefully, slowly. 6 words. Precise. Clear. You asked for space. I stepped out. Read receipt confirmed. Silence. By Thursday, her social media accounts were empty of posts, empty of commentary, empty of any attempt to show evolution. Lucas had moved on to new participants, new workshops, new promises. Clara's world had shrunk into an echo of the space she had demanded. I returned briefly to the shared apartment. Everything remained untouched, orderly, unclaimed. No confrontation, no argument, no drama. Only absence. She had asked for space. I had given it fully. And the reality she faced now, quiet, unfilled, without the momentum of her imagined transformation, was entirely her own. For the first time, she realized that stepping beyond her boundary was no longer mine to negotiate. By the 5th week, the quiet was complete. Clara's attempts to reach me had slowed to nothing. No messages, no calls, no posts. Lucas had shifted his attention elsewhere, and the promises of transformation and contracts had vanished into routine marketing campaigns. I continued with my own life, entirely separate. Remote monitoring of traffic systems, data from sensors, emergency simulations. All precise, all predictable. Every alert I resolved reinforced the order I had created around myself. Her absence did not feel like loss. It felt like space finally defined. I visited the shared apartment once, walking through rooms that had been hers and ours. Everything remained untouched. Her notebooks were stacked neatly on the desk. The studio-inspired journals were still on the shelf. No confrontations, no accusations, no explanations. Just the reality of what space truly meant. Midweek, a text arrived. Short. Hesitant. Are we okay? I read it carefully, considered the span of the past weeks, then typed a single sentence. You asked for space. I went beyond it. Read receipt confirmed. Silence followed. By the weekend, Clara's social presence was minimal. No reflection posts, no transformative captions, no hashtags signaling growth or awakening. She had reached the end of her own narrative. I remained in the new apartment, maintaining routines, focused on work. Her evolution, her awakening, her space. All of it had run its course. And she realized, finally, that the boundaries she demanded had consequences she had not anticipated. I had not disappeared. I had simply stepped entirely beyond her space. By the 6th week, the quiet had settled into finality. Clara's texts were gone. Her social accounts were inactive. Lucas had moved on entirely, promoting new workshops and a new cohort. The intensity, the promises, the transformational breakthroughs she had chased were gone. I remained in the new apartment, immersed in precision and routine. Monitoring city traffic, analyzing sensor data, adjusting emergency protocols. Every line of code, every alert, every report reminded me of what I had built and maintained. Her space had been absolute. A single message appeared on my phone late one evening. Are we okay? Short. Tentative. The weight of weeks hung in those 3 words. I typed carefully, deliberately. 6 words. Cold, precise, final. You asked for space. I stepped out. Read receipt confirmed. Silence. I returned to the shared apartment briefly. Everything remained untouched, orderly. Her journals, her notes, her reminders of workshops and exercises, stacked neatly, but empty of meaning without the energy she had brought. No confrontation, no argument, no plea, just absence. The quiet carried the message. She had asked for space. She had received it fully. And in the end, she realized that the boundaries she demanded were not just empty words. They defined the limits of her influence, her control, and her expectations. I had not disappeared. I had simply respected the space she requested, and in doing so, had stepped entirely beyond it. The consequences of her own request were hers alone to face. The door was open, but it was no longer hers to walk through.